Roll call
Steve Orndell,
here.
John Bonaprise,
Here.
Doug Rowdy,
Here.
Jay Luke,
Here.
Jeremy Hall. He's not online, is he? Okay. That is 4 out of 5 members present.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. Motion made, second to approve the agenda. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion to approve the minutes from April 1st. Aye.
So moved.
Made and second to approve the minutes from April 1st, 25. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. Public comment. So you can be ready. Hear public comment. Information from the supervisors not seated members. So we have some. Any comments? Questions, concerns, complaints?
This is awesome. That's all I can say. From before to now, this is awesome.
There's any update.
We're gonna be replacing the steel roofing on the rabbit barn. Actually, pricing came in cheaper to replace it than to coat it. And it's under budget, so we're gonna be, replacing the steel on that. We went down and did a walkthrough with the fair personnel, to get some different things that we needed to do maintenance wise on restrooms and valves. And then the bid for the grandstand should go out next week. It'll be open for 3 weeks, and Cedar Core wants to open bids of.
We got a maximum big road budget on that yet,
1.7.
1.7,
Yes.
any ideas?
I mean, no. Depends on the fair.
That's why I asked the question.
Wow. You won't know until you bid it.
That's for sure.
So, Ron, are they gonna be able to replace that roof prior to the July fair?
That is the, oh,
We can bid it together.
yeah, I got all the bids stuff.
Okay.
Came in cheaper than, what we had budgeted. And it was 3,000 or 4,000 cheaper by a couple different contractors than the coating.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, there you go. So once I received a couple back that gave me both, coating and steel replacements, then I reached out to another company for another replacement cost.
Good. Appreciate that.
We got any money to spend on the museum this year?
Museum, yep, I have a fee out right now for tuck pointing on all the brick as needed around there. So it's gonna be somewhere around 60,000, that's 70 maybe.
Hey,
PJCC update.
Provide that service. Here. Well, I guess the big news is that our treatment court coordinator, Melissa Spillin, her husband Dave Spillin, assistant DA, accepted a job in Adams County. So unfortunately, Melissa is unwilling to make that commute to the Dells of UFPA. So as I responded to the it's not. Even no longer be. And she's just done. So, we'll be, we're gonna deal with that with her absence. In terms of program, we've got 7 in treatment board at the moment, 2 in diversion, 5 in IDIP. Now, I'm not sure when the next graduation is, so no comments on that. Well, that's it.
And indicated to be a lot. The question I don't want to even. Okay, update from Public Works.
Diamond Falls Dam gates and actuators will arrive now, supposedly Tuesday, May 27th, and hopefully they complete it in June. Not any of the contractor on site, Honda or Air's fault. It's the people making the gates and the actuators that keep kicking the can down the road for us. So hopefully in June, at the June meeting, I'd love to be able to tell you that it's complete, but we will see. The D. Kennedy Bridge is awarded to Larson Construction, and they're looking at a November start date. And then, in addition to the museum tuck pointing that I talked about, we'll be opening bids for the expansion at the Justice Center now. And then, in case anyone didn't hear it, on the tour, we're gonna be doing some refencing so that we fence out the bins on the front of the recycling center on the west side, so that we'll have 24/7 coverage and to include weekends and everything else for everyone in this local area. And then the RFPs are out for the Baylor has been awarded, and then the fiber sort line will go on bids. And then Tony has an update on the park side.
On the park end of things, over towards the end of winter, beginning of spring, we did some hazard tree removal at the Apple River Campground. We got a DNR from the forestry grant to do that, so we've had 2 rounds of that. We got a grant 2 years in a row. So we are pretty good at the campground right now as far as known hazard trees go. Along with that, we also took out a bunch of cats. Whether you're aware or not, Emerald Apple is a pet that's been in the state since 2008, 2005, somewhere that's slowly working its way west, pretty much killed every ash tree. It is in Polk County. I've seen good evidence of it over at the Lake Park. And Brent, when he was checking the trees that we took down in Apple River, did find it at the tops of those trees as well. So you're kind of getting ahead of things before those trees die and become a hazard. As long as we had somebody in there removing trees, we took about much of the ash around the campsites that we could. We also did some tree removal over at Lotus Lake Park. Has some dead and dying oaks over there that we took out. Issue we're dealing with right now on the Gambie Trail, we have a plug culvert north of Frederick. Plug real tight and is backed up a lot of water. That was threatening 150 Street. We tried several different ways to get it unplugged. Unfortunately, the plugged end of the culvert is about 6 or 7 feet underwater. So it's been plugged for a while, evidently. Either that or the water backs up quick. So right now we're working with Nick's Excavating. They've got a big pump over there trying to pump that water down far enough so that we can actually get at that culvert, get it unplugged. If it is indeed unplugged, there's suppose there could be a chance that the culvert has failed and collapsed. I'm not sure until we get that water level down, but at least we're getting the water moved across the trail to the other side. Trail is open. We did put a temporary pipe in the trail so that the pump hose is going underground so people can travel over across it, no problem. Then also we've been working on trail grading, finishing up the scour this week, and then we'll be moving on to the Gandhi. With the nice weather coming, just some time. We could probably use a little rain here pretty soon to help settle down the trail after grading. And we also do have all the restrooms open on the times. All for me.
Question 3.
Did we appeal the power again?
What we heard is in the short reviews. So
That was then being ruled against it since then.
Filed a separate stay to his previous.
Yeah.
ruling while the appeal is pending.
So they haven't ruled on the state.
We lost the stay. They weren't allowed to
Yes,
that was, so we lost it. I would just really agree.
Ron, Are you gonna have cameras on those bins then?
Eventually, that's the plan.
Yeah, I think that's necessary. I see.
Yeah, because people here are gonna be used to bringing washers and dryers and everything, and that's what they're gonna find every Monday morning. We'll be there, so the cameras will help slow that down. And it's amazing, when you put a dummy camera with just the battery and the light on the dumpster at, Apple River Campground, because we have a lot of dumping in there, and they're totally.
Well, I do this, the student, the airplanes are getting real. So you're gonna have trouble.
Yeah.
See that at every one of your job sites. Stuff over the side of the so. Okay, open for updates and highway.
Passed out the most recent version of the Iowa's financial report that will cover from January of this year through the end of March. Getting busy the highway, we've been doing a lot of maintenance. We got the start crack sealing finally, we've been doing some crack sealing on we also prepping we're gonna chip seal this year. We started yesterday with our right-of-way spraying with the growth inhibitor for the grass and the herbicides in there to target the wild parsnip and the other invasives. So I believe the native grasses along and put a lot of those invasive species. So this year we're our first main blade we're doing north of Highway 8. And the plan is to do the south half of the county next year. Where we might do and see how that goes. This is mowing. We're doing 1 to 2 feet basically over to the edge of our statutory minimum right away. We've got a list of sprayers out there. We've got Biodole taking 2 phone calls today on the spray. It's day 1 of the go. I was impressed yesterday when we covered 89 lane miles of roadway in 1 day, spraying versus blowing. So we should be able to, we want to pretty tight for that.
Is it showing?
It won't show yet. It takes a little bit.
That's not gonna get the point.
Well, you're not gonna see the grass turn brown. No. Yeah, so it's when people see a spray. So. They want to know what's going on, but we have links and SDS links to all the SDS sheets on our highway website. Best management practice literature on there, what we're doing, what our goal is. That's all we created a separate tab under our maintenance on the highway website. Detailing all that info, so they have the information on the chemicals, why we're doing it, the benefits of doing it for the pollinators and the monarch butterflies and everything else. So we're trying to promote that side of it too, along with the cost savings for us down the road. So
They accept that very well for the public.
I think if you can get them off the social media posts where things,
Yeah.
people just start chiming in randomly, if you can have a conversation with them, then they've been really good.
We did the township, did some. They accepted it quite well after the explanation was their first, especially the second year after. It really,
Well, keeping my fingers crossed for good results this first year, so people are happy with the better visibility and
Yeah.
less we consider anything else.
right,
Several projects kicked off this last week or this week. The County Road B project is underway. We had some DNR issues out there with our contractor, the DNR, that, some silt fence issues with, waterway disturbance, there was some miscommunication on that. That's still going along as planned. The County Road W Bridge over the McKenzie Creek, as well as the Town of Lorraine's 357 bridge, both started last week. And W is closed now this week for that construction. They're tearing that off this week. Our schedule currently is we'll pave the County Road E and County Road Double M the week of June 9th through the 12th, shouldering the following week. Then we'll start our chip sealing in July, the end of July. We're doing 2 segments of County Road M
So everything north in Nye, there north of the federal project we did several years ago, Eagle Osceola is getting chip sealed this year. So that, from Nye to Osceola and then County Road N, that'll be around the week of July 28th, and then we'll be scrub sealing State Highway 35 from County Road X south to the county line the following week, and then I'll fog seal on that like they do.
What's the date on that?
Scrub sealing would be the week of August 4th for the scrub sealing. And then later in August, we'll be paving G1 out there from the county line by the Staples Link there, the county line on G. We'll be paving that segment week of August 18th, shouldering the following week, and then paving G2 from County Road I over to D. That will be getting paved the week of October 13th. And that will be our last paving project for the year. That's the update on the projects. And then I did bring with some homework for the committee members. I've got a fresh set of RFQs for County Road E and County Road T. Two federal projects, small applying for that were awarded. Tentatively 27, 28 construction on those, so they're out there ways yet, but we gotta get through this process, get our engineering consultants selected. So I've got them all bundled up for you, gentlemen, and if there's any way you could possibly get those back to you by the end of next week, that'd be terrific.
Well, I gotta tell you, half of the constituents, I've never seen people so happy as what you guys have done this year up there, right? Even, you must have had a pretty long arm because you got a lot of things up the whole shadowing. People are really, I know there's been a whole lot for a few years. People notice that right away.
We're in the bucket truck, so a lot of that was bucket truck more with the chainsaws and then, one of the long arm mowers got outfitted. Instead of a regular brush rotary head, it's got a mulching with econ style head on it now that gives us an inch. And does a cleaner job on that, two jobs.
Josh, explain to everybody what this process is in spraying, what it does to the grasses,
So
so
the
they understand.
product we're spraying is a grass inhibitor, growth inhibitor. So will not kill the grass, but you get about 2 months of inhibited growth on that. So you don't spray, you've got to wait till the dandelions start to pop up and the grass gets a little taller, just like that. The heat we had last week, and things started going pretty well. So that will stunt the growth of that grass. It remains alive, it just inhibits the growth of that. Do a targeted herbicide. And then the other chemicals, the couple of other products that are in that mix that we're mixing and spraying on the right of way will kill those invasive species and some of the small woody brush and stuff like that. They won't do the larger stuff. It's safe for grazing animals, so when we're spraying along pasture lands, it's medium graze safe, so it's been tested for that. And our goal is just cost savings. And the control of those invasive species in their ditch. So we've got a ton of the wild parsnip and various other wild chervil and various other things that we're trying to get in control of too. Normally, when we are traditional long line mowing in the county, we do one pass around the county, state and county, and we get about 10 foot width for our Schulte mower decks. And now we're able to spray at 22 feet, but we built our own spray system on the truck, and then we have it certified through a spray company that we're purchasing our chemicals from. It does have the option, we can cut it down to 11 foot and to 22 foot. So we need to watch, wherever there's water in the ditch or wetlands, we can't spray those areas. Like I said, we've sent 4 individuals to get certified in spraying, even though the state doesn't require right-of-way sprayers to be certified if they are county employees. Just so we have those staff that have the best management practices and knowledge to follow those guidelines for spraying and stuff and watching for the wetlands and stuff like that. We're also not spraying people's yards where they mow and maintain the right of way along their driveway or the property line. We're not spraying those. There's no need to spray that. Most of those people mow all year. So when we calculated our usage for the product in the north part of the county, we used the 80% rule. Approximately 80% of the right of way can be sprayed, but 20% is going to be people's driveways and intersections and stuff like that, where you're gonna shut it off. And we also built hydraulic controls into our spray rig that auto drop the nozzles for mailboxes, so we're not blasting anyone's mailboxes with a chemical leaker. When we get to a mailbox, we trim it, it diverts the spray directly under the mailbox and returns and keeps on going. So we're trying to minimize the product where it doesn't need to be, wherever we can.
And it's all me for training.
It is, it promotes the growth of milkweed action for the monarch butterflies. And, whenever you do mechanical mowing, you gotta worry about nesting birds and other wildlife in the ditches. Erosion damage from rutting from the tires and stuff, occasionally hooked culverts and people's driveways that we have to go out and repair. It's a lot less invasive to spray than it is to drag those very heavy mowers through the ditches and shoulder damage from the tractors, everything else. So we're hoping for good results with it and that we can continue to do it in the future.
Any other questions from the guy?
Maybe we'll go to the update from the sheriff's department.
Sheriff Polk is at a conference this week, so he's not here, obviously. Over the weekend, we had our third fatality. A truck went through the stop sign at Highway 65, got T-boned by a westbound vehicle on 8. And then yesterday, we had a motorcycle hit a guardrail on Highway 65. So that's our fourth fatality now for the year. This week, we celebrate Corrections Week for our corrections officers. We're doing another cookout tomorrow for them. And then right now, we're in talks with T-Mobile to rent out tower space on one of our towers for rentals. That's about it for the sheriff's office. Question get on.
Are we both that?
We're short two deputies, one dispatcher right now. We have candidates that we have lined up, but hopefully by the end of summer, maybe by the end of the year, we'll be full staff.
Any other questions? For an update. Just a couple things to share. The library committee will be holding their public hearing on the library plan 30 minutes prior to the county board meeting. So, that will be going on as, right before the board meeting right there. I can send out some more information on the library funding. That questions came in, so everyone should have those, extra bits of information on funding and how that works with municipalities. At the committee levels, we're also talking about budget priorities, with the committees and for the committees to look at their budget priorities. And that might just not be, new cars, and trucks and equipment or paving. It might be that this committee might want to, advocate, legislators for more funding for transportation and items like that. Our budget priorities, as we're looking at budget priorities, a flat levy, a stable levy, which means implementing our, continuing our bonding schedule. Asking the departments to look at, any extra funding requests, not as a wish list, but as what's needed out there. Make sure they can justify that. And the bonding is another, we're staying on our bonding schedule to help us meet our requirements of, completing our CIP projects. I know it's a fourth priority with infrastructure. And also there'll be a presentation on the health fund at general government. So we're working on options on our health fund and health benefits, out there. That's all I have.
Our last bonding round, what was the total there? Did you have any comments on that?
I'm sure, Don, you want?
Yes, sir. So we're planning to borrow a total of $2.25 million for the budget year 2025. It took a little bit for some short-term borrowing back in December for the sheriff's cars. The balance for capital projects that you approved in the last budget.
Yeah.
The idea would be to borrow more or less that amount of money into the medium term. So for the next 5 years or so, to take care of road projects, or building improvements, the focus should be on capital projects. And we'll get a presentation, at the June General Government Committee about, what bonding for 2026 will look like, but it'll be pretty much the same story as 2025, but different projects.
And that'll keep our levy flat and stable.
I guess my concern was, do you expect any increase in the bonding rate or?
That's been holding pretty steady.
So the interest rates are pretty steady. We will have a call with, the folks who place, loans out on Wall Street here, in a couple of weeks. And if we do sort of a Wall Street style placement, I think you've asked about this before, sir, we'll get a rating.
Yeah.
We haven't had a rating in a very long time because we haven't borrowed money that way.
Yeah.
The last one was a private placement through Bremer. And we may decide to do that sort of thing again, but we want to look at the option of the public market. And so if we do pull that lever, then we'll get a bond, we'll get a rating. We expect it to be good.
Oh, that round that we had with Bremer, have we got a lot left on that or?
I'll have that, I can bring that schedule to the next meeting. We've been paying that down aggressively.
Yeah.
And so that frees up, capacity for other contracts in the future.
So then when we did that, we had, the big thing was the option that we could take it faster than we wanted and free up money for other projects. Thank you. Good news.
Anybody else have any questions or comments for Administrator? Moving on to Supervisor Rowley, ATV.
There is no presentation as answer from the unless Rod has something with the trail that he wants to.
No, we canceled this month's meeting because we couldn't have the capacity down here if a bunch of guys showed up, so we postponed it to June.
It's Gerald, one comment on ATVs. Up in, Sterling Fishing, they have their second annual, ATV ride. They go through the trails of, up there, the pine trails and the intensive use park, a couple weeks ago. And last year they had 45 machines, on that, run, and checking out all the trails. And this year they had 166 machines.
Do we still sponsor that veterans ride? 2 years ago, we had that veterans ride.
They may have one, the county has not sponsored it. That probably might have.
That was done.
The only thing I heard from Todd Miller was that, Mellow thought, I think he's out of siren. And either can't do it anymore or just because it'll go to the task later, but Todd Miller did it the last time, but it was just more of but
You know, when it did happen, boy, the veterans really appreciated that. They had a couple of stops where they really treated them and there was some controversy about, well, they can't do it.
But one of the members, it was from Siren, for not telling me something.
it's a personal.
Yeah, they sponsored it.
I'll be with that.
Even onto the work plan, see, we don't have anything on the work plan for June.
We talking about it.
Dr. Mosley, who did this floor?
Contractor wise,
Northwoods something,
But,
Northwoods flooring or something like that.
nice,
it's an epoxy.
yeah,
Yeah, very nice.
you can do my garage.
Only bad thing about this, John, if you drop anything on it, you can't find it.
You got too much money to drop.
Let's see, identify subject matter for the next meeting. thing I have is, I received calls from two different county board members while I was out west. Inquiring about the money that's been set aside for first responders because of the shortage of firefighters. They wanted to know if there was something to do with shortage of firefighters, so I've been interviewing fire department members and chiefs. Hope to make the rounds the best I can to find out why some of these departments are having problems. I think I already have the answer. I don't think money will fix it. I won't comment any further than that, I guess, at this point, but, and I'm gonna interview as many people as I can and see what the problem is. Certain areas don't have any problems, some do, so.
What kind of problems are they talking?
Well, basically, Balsam Lake was about to lose their certification. Well, they didn't have enough members and they didn't have everything that they needed. But then they kind of combined with Centuria and Milltown, so they could make sure the coverage is there. The problem I see with that is you got a small grass fire. They trip all three pagers, all three fire departments roll the apparatus for a fire that might be put out with a simple grass ring to men. Eventually, that's going to catch up to the taxpayer that's got to pay every time the department goes out. So I don't even know if it's something that we should be looking into, but I was asked about it, so I'm just kind of doing homework on the back. I decided that something should come before the committee, I guess I'll talk to the amendments here and get it added.
It's a big one, Dominic.
Sure.
At the state convention last August, I introduced a resolution from Polk County to fund all the way, all the border counties from like Bayfield. There was, everybody pretty much had been in trouble with some of them emerging, some of them had COVID. So Polk County had this resolution to fund 1.5 cents per capita for each county out of this huge Wisconsin Reserve Budget Fund. And so the last I was able to find out that it was still in conference committee. It did pass our state convention 100% without any no votes. So I've been trying to follow up with Robin Dahl, and at the last meeting that we had, Robin wasn't there. And I asked Chelsea about it. She's the gal that's in charge right now. And you don't get any information from Chelsea. But we're trying to get this 1.5 cents per capita per region, per county, out of the reserve fund, which seems to be as simple as can be. See where it goes. I'll try to keep everybody up to date.
Well, I didn't bring us some money.
It amounts to quite a bit, really, altogether.
What's the fee?
1.5 cents.
You said for. Yeah. You said we got 50,000 people.
There was some other language in there, Jay.
Must be.
Yeah, because there was a 1.5 cent figure, and it was out of the reserve fund, but it was, I'd have to have the whole paragraph. But I'll keep everybody up to date.
Mr. Chair, did you want to talk about the date of the meeting next month? You'll be at conference then? Is it something we want to look at?
Anybody else from the conference?
It's you.
Huh?
It's just you
Just.
for us at the meeting, yeah.
We heard your voice from way back in Montana.
Wyoming.
Wyoming, not as far as.
Well, then I just want to change this. Nobody wants to go.
Oh, during for coffee and donuts, I brought some and they got some. You went out for coffee and donuts, up there.
Motion made, and seconded to adjourn, all those in favor?
Aye.